So the question was posed to Shaykh Ibn Baz, the hadith which we discussed yesterday, the 7 whom Allah Azza wa Jalla will shade in His shade on a day when there's no shade except His. Is it specific to the men, or likewise is it applicable to the women? Are they also included in this hadith? So the answer of Shaykh Ibn Baz, rahimahullah. So the Shaykh, he said, the hadith about the 7 who are under the shade of Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala on the day of resurrection is general for the men and for the women. So the Shaykh, he said, the statement of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, 7 types of people, يُذِلُّهُمُ اللَّهُ فِي ذِلِّهِ يَوْمَ لَا ذِلَّ إِلَّا ذِلُّهُ, whom Allah Azza wa Jalla will shade under His shade on a day when there's no shade except His. Imam and Adil, a just ruler or leader. وَشَاب نَشَأَ فِي عِبَادَةِ اللَّهِ, the youth who grew up in the worship of Allah Azza wa Jalla. Shaykh Ibn Baz said, وَهَكَذا, similarly the woman who grew up in the worship of Allah Azza wa Jalla. But notice, Ikhwan, how the Shaykh, he didn't mention what? Imam and Adil. Why? Because Imam and Adil is specific to the man. So the Shaykh, he mentioned, likewise the woman who grows up in the worship of Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. And he said, with regards to the part of the hadith, the second person, the man whose heart is attached to the masajid, he says similarly the woman whose heart is attached to what? The prayer. Allahu Akbar. He said likewise the woman whose heart is attached to the prayer. And inshallah, after we listen to this, we'll go on where he explains. A woman asked Shaykh Ibn Baz the question specifically. Me, I love going to pray in the masjid, but I know it's better for me to pray in the house. Do I fall under the hadith, meaning the 7? وَقَلْبُهُ مُعَلَّقْ بِالْمَسَاجِدِ. And the Shaykh, he gives a beautiful answer. So now, this answers Shams's question. 2 men who love one another for the sake of Allah, they unite upon that and they separate upon that. Now separate upon that, the scholars, they differ exactly what separate means. Some of them say it's death. Now, Shaykh Ibn Baz, he said, وَهَكَذَا. And similarly, 2 women who love one another for the sake of Allah, it's also applicable to them. Or a man and a woman who both love one another for the sake of Allah. So no doubt, what would fall into that is Shams's question. Now, if a man loved his wife or the wife loved the husband, Naam, and either of them were to depart this world and they united upon that and they separated upon that, we hope that this hadith likewise is applicable to them. And he said likewise, the 5th person was a man who was invited by a woman of beauty and position, meaning to fornicate, and the man said, verily I fear Allah Azza wa Jalla. This is the 5th type of person. And the Shaykh, he said, likewise the woman. If a man tries to seduce the woman who has position and beauty, and the woman, she says, verily I fear Allah, then also she is from the 7 whom will be under the shade of Allah Azza wa Jalla on a day when there's no shade except His shade.
السادس رجل صدق بصدقة أخفاها حتى لا تعلم شماله ما تنفق يمينه وهكذا المرأة صدق بصدقة أخفاها حتى لا تعلم شماله ما تنفق يمينه هي من السبع سواء بسواء.
And the 6th person was a man who gave charity and concealed it to the extent that the left hand did not know what the right hand had spent in charity. Again, the Shaykh Ibn Baz said, وَهَكَذَا الْمَرْأَةِ. Similarly, this is applicable to the woman. If the woman gives charity and she conceals it to the extent that the left hand is not aware of that which the right hand has given, then she is also from the 7 whom Allah Azza wa Jalla will shade.
إيمان والخوف من الله جل وعلا هو من السبعة وهكذا مرة إذا بكت من خشية الله خالص. نعم. جزاكم الله خيرا.
And the seventh type of person mentioned in this hadith, a man who mentions Allah Azza wa Jal, remembers Allah while they're alone, yani no one is present with him, and he starts to cry. فَفَاضَتْ عَيْنَاهُ, his eyes shed tears. Shaykh Ibn Baz said, meaning he sheds tears out of the fear of Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. He cries from the fear of Allah and nobody is there with him. So he cries out of sincerity and due to his faith and due to fear of Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. This man is also from the seven. And he says similarly, this is applicable to the woman. If she cries from the fear of Allah Azza wa Jal and she's alone, this is also applicable to the woman. So alhamdulillah, that's the words of Shaykh Ibn Baz rahimahullah as it pertains to that issue. We'll go on inshallah. I just want to read one more thing from Shaykh Ibn Baz rahmatullahi alayhi.